Hello everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to create mods for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. My name is Joshua and I'll be teaching you for this video probably just the basics of texture replacement. In the next series I'll be teaching you the more advanced materials, multiple maps for the materials, and then probably on to models and photorealism, performance enhancements, all that sort of stuff for the game. Initially I was creating a mod to basically replace a lot of the older textures and assets and get them updated to a more modern day standard. However, I never really got the time to dedicate to that, and I got a suggestion on my YouTube channel to create something where I teach people how to create mods for the game, because I've seen a few tutorials out there, things that I've learned from. However, they're quite short in terms of details, and I did do a lot, many hours of discovery and research and things like that, and I decided to compile it into one video just to help you all out. Anyway, without further ado, I'll get started. Right, so the first tool that you will be needing is the TXT Workshop. Now if you don't know what the TXT Workshop is, I'll put a link to the description down below, link in the description down below, jeez. And basically it allows you to open up the game's image files. So when you open it, I'll just close that now. When you open it, you get this window pop up. If you go to Open Image, or IMG in this case, simply navigate to the Grand Theft Auto folder, go inside Models. In here is where you'll find all the models and textures, even though it just says models. So if you click on GTA 3, even though this is San Andreas, it will come as GTA 3. You'll get every single file, more or less, that's in the game. Now there are a couple other folders, image files. They contain like miscellaneous data, which most of the time you won't be touching, but occasionally you will. I think it's more like sort of like the startup menus in the other image files, and credits and things like that. But without further ado, when you open it, you'll get these things on the side. Now you've got two types of files, DFF and TXD. DFF is the model files, TXD is the texture folders. Now if you don't know what a texture folder is, basically inside the image you've got the folder stored as a TXD, and the TXD will hold multiple textures. Quite a mouthful. But that's how it works in San Andreas. Normally you would just have the texture files stored separately, but here the texture files are all stashed in a TXT folder. Anyway, I'll close this real quick. Nope. Now, let's just say I wanted to replace the bushes and shrubs in Grove Street. Trying to find those in here, clicking on each individual folder, TXT folder file, is going to be quite tedious, and it's going to take a very long time to actually find that specific file. So chances are you'll be replacing more than just one texture in your case, and if that is your case, then you want to download the MED. Again, I'll put a link in the description to this file, and the MED basically stands for map editor. Well, it is the map editor. Anyway, so double clicking on the application once it's installed. I mean, there's no major installation. I think it's just drag and drop from the file that you download. Just double click on the executable, and then once you double click on it, this should pop up. Make sure it's MED version 0.32. I think that's the latest. If it's not, then it's still the one that works for me. Click on Add. And then here you just want to name it. You can put anything here, it really doesn't matter, but I'm just going to call it GTA San Andreas tutorial. Next thing we're going to do is click on the Browse button, and you want to navigate again to the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas folder, which is here for me. So, C, Program Files, Steam Apps. And if you're not running the Steam version, it doesn't matter, you can just still find the Grand Theft Auto directory, and then hit OK. And again hit OK. Now I'm glad it did that, solely because this happens to me on a regular basis. Occasionally it will get locked at around 42-43%, and basically the fix for this is if you move the window to the side, just literally double click it again and then move the window, and then hit OK, it works. I have no idea why this is, but that's, yeah. Anyway, so when it opens up, it looks like this. You've got a black screen here, and then these things on the left hand side. What you want to do is click on Scene, and then in my case, because I want to edit the Los Santos area, You want to go to Data, Maps, LAE2, and this is where CJ's house is. Just click it and then hit Render. Now, basic controls, left mouse button to look around, as in you have to hold it down to look, and then while holding it down you use the WASD keys to move, and if it's going too slow, if you just hit shift and it'll just jump a little bit. Obviously if you hold it then it'll keep going. Now I want to edit these little bits here, what's now highlighted in red, so you can see the texture's quite dated. Actually just let me unselect that. So as you can see, now that we know where it is, by double clicking on it, just right click it and go to properties, it'll come up. So texture name is hub_alpha. Now that we know that, we just simply go back to the TXT editor, and then at the bottom here, at the very bottom left, tiny little search bar, which I actually confused for a progress bar. So just type that in, hub_alpha. And then there it is, highlighted in blue, 420 kilobytes. You want to go down, and as you can see there, we've got the bridge texture, the clothes textures, and at last we have all of the different textures for the plants. So I'm gonna just hop back into this, hit cancel and escape. I think the first one I want to replace is probably the living green one, so I think that's this texture here. So to get this out, I'm going to export this as a PNG onto the desktop. So SM agave 1. The reason why I want to do this is just so I've got the name. Yep, okay. So I'm now going to minimize that and that. Now, I'm not going to teach you how to use image editing tools. However, I do obviously expect you to know, basically the basics of image editing. So I'm just going to drag this into here and then full screen it myself. I'm going to go to image, scale image, and this is all multiples of 2, so 128, 264. So just keep the lock on if you're using, Adobe Photoshop or GIMP. Either one works, obviously. I'm going to scale this to 1024, and that'll go to 512. Perfect. Now, obviously that is a very low resolution image by today's standards, so I'm going to go type in agave PNG or something like that. I like this image. I think it's obviously a lot better than the current image. Obviously back in 2004 the target resolution for screens was 480p, whereas nowadays it's 1080 or 4K. Alright, so I'm now just going to fast forward this little bit of the video. I'm just basically going to cut out the bottom part of the leaves and then add a little stalk myself. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, just cut it out, and then, the only reason why I'm adding the part of the stalk and get rid of those bottom leaves is just to help with the realism, because having leaves hang down and disappear into nowhere does not help with the realism, and obviously the stalk will, assist with it, touching the ground. I'm now going to hit overwrite sm agave1.png. In the Photoshop case, it's just file, export, and then the same thing. Now, with this selected, the thing that we just exported, we're going to hit import and select this texture here, the one that we've just saved over, and hit open. And there we go. So it's the alpha channel, or the transparent channel, will now be updated in the same time the image is imported, so it will update the transparency, which will appear black in this preview. So you don't have to worry about separate importing of the alpha channel or anything like that. And then you just simply hit save TXT, and that should be it. Now I don't think it updates straight away for the editor. However, we'll have a look in game at the that plant that we've just updated. So I believe I have to close this to boot the game without any issues. Alright, so as you can see, the texture is now imported. I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome of the sharpness. As you can see, here's the original sort of texture. I think it's 128, 128, whereas this one here is 1024 by 512. So as you can see, it's a lot better. However, it's not perfect, and we're going to cover this in the modeling section, because originally the devs used two planes and basically put them at a 90-degree angle, And when outputted at a 480 resolution like this, you wouldn't really see it, whereas nowadays with 1080p and even 4K, you are going to notice this quite easily. And there's a fix for this, but it's obviously a modeling fix. Alright, so that is more or less it for the very first part. In the next part, we'll be installing GTA San Andreas version 1. Basically to add some plugins. The reason why I want to use plugins is so we can introduce normal maps, and if you don't know what they are, they basically add like a little extra amount of detail to props without increasing the number of polygons, and also you don't have to basically replace the models and things like that. All you have to do is add the texture to the model rather than complicate the formula and do it in a different method. So I'll cover it obviously in a lot more detail in the next episode, and that is it for this one. Thank you and goodbye.